everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be trying out and doing a review on this resin called Art and Glow. And it's the #1 best-selling resin on Amazon in the United States. It has a very high rating of 4.5 stars out of 5 with over 700 customer reviews, which is very impressive. And I did read through some of the comments and people are saying good things about this resin. So I was curious and want to give it a try and see for myself. And I want to give you guys my input and my honest review. Now, I got the 16-ounce kit. It comes with 8 ounces of resin, 8 ounces of hardener, and it cost me $25, which I think it's a good price and fairly affordable. It's not too cheap, it's not too expensive, kind of falls right in the middle. And if you have Prime, shipping will be free, which is a plus because a lot of times if you order resin online, they will charge you a lot for shipping. Now on the bottle itself, it says it is crystal clear, self-leveling, resists yellowing, has a 40-minute work time or 40-minute pot life. It's non-flammable, has no VOCs, and has low odor. Now, VOC stands for volatile organic compound, and basically it's just fumes that chemicals give off. So none of that, and it's probably made in the USA. Now, on the back is the resin cheat sheet, and it just has a short instruction on measuring and mixing and all that stuff. Now, this resin is 1:1 ratio by volume, and it cures in 24 hours. They do recommend you to work in a temperature of 70 to 80 degrees, minimum of 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, of course, if you work in a warmer climate, it's gonna shorten your pot life and your resin will cure faster. Now, I hope you guys can see this under my studio lighting, but the resin does have a bluish tint to it, and usually companies will do this to neutralize a yellow tint from the hardener. Now, my hardener is new, so there's no yellowing, but some brands, the hardener will yellow over time. So that's a good indication when you buy resin. If the hardener is yellow, it's old. So it's been sitting on the shelf for a long time. So that's a tip for you guys. Now let's get to the mixing and pouring. Okay, so we're going to pour 15 ml or ½ ounce of hardener and 15 ml or ½ ounce of resin. So 1 ounce total. And here's the resin. Now the resin is definitely a lot thicker than the hardener. I hope you guys can see it. And the viscosity reminds me of honey or cane syrup, so it's pretty thick. Now I'm going to transfer to a bigger cup so I have enough room to mix it properly without spilling it. Okay, now here we go with the mixing, and because the resin is thick, I definitely do feel some resistance, and I'm trying to mix it slowly so I don't incorporate too many bubbles, but I'm finding that hard to do, and I can already see a lot of bubbles. Now, as I'm mixing this, I can detect a slight chemical smell, but it's very faint and not bad at all. Now I'm going to do a double mixing method where I transfer the mixed resin to a new cup so I can thoroughly mix the two liquids together. Okay, I'm done mixing it now, and as you can see, there's a lot of micro bubbles. I'm going to let it sit for a couple of minutes for the bigger bubbles to rise so I can pop them with a lighter. Okay, now I'm going to pour a thin layer in this cavity. For this one, I'm going to add a sticker and a glitter layer. And for this one, I'm just going to do a thicker clear layer. And here I have a metal disc which I'm going to dome with clear resin. Okay, now we're going to try some resin dyes and then pour that into a mold. Alright, so here's a resin after an hour from the initial pour. The resin has gelled and it's tacky enough for me to add the glitter layer, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so I decided to make another batch, and this time warming up the resin in a hot water bath to loosen up the resin so it's easier to mix. This technique will also reduce the formation of microbubbles. Now, this will shorten the pot life, so keep that in mind when you use this method. Also, I did mix less resin this time. I did 20 milliliters each. No, I did 20 ml total. So here I'm mixing my batch in the hot water bath, and I hope you can tell that it's looser. It's less viscous compared to my first batch. It's definitely easier to mix, and I can see less bubbles forming, so it's nice and loose. And here we are, significantly less bubbles. Now let's compare it to my first batch. I'm sorry guys, unfortunately I forgot to press record, but basically I poured white colored resin here where we had the sticker and the glitter, and I also poured a thin layer of clear resin here and a thicker layer here so we can compare with the first batch. Now all we have to do is wait for them to fully cure. Hi everyone! So I actually waited 48 hours for the full cure and already popped them out of the mold. So we'll go ahead and take a look here. We'll start with the first batch we did. Okay, so here are all the clear pieces, and you can definitely see that there's a bunch of micro bubbles throughout the piece. Definitely a lot more in the thicker pieces like this one and this one. The thinner one you can still see some, but not as much as the thicker pieces. It's pretty hard, some flexibility, but as you can see I'm putting quite a bit of force. So it's pretty hard. I'm pushing my nail in. Now I can't see it, but it does leave a small indent of my nail. but it's self-healing, so it disappears. Here's the dome metal disc, and there are some micro air bubbles. I don't know if you guys can see, but it has a nice dome. Here's the glitter and sticker. Definitely see some micro bubbles if you turn it to the side and see the clear layer. But from the front, you can't see any of it because of the glitter. And here are the colored resin pieces, and these turn out very nice. Of course, you can't see any of the bubbles because of the pigment. Okay, moving on to the second batch. This is the batch where we warmed up the resin in a hot water bath, and you can definitely see that there's some micro air bubbles, but not nearly as much as the first batch. This one's the thicker piece, this one's the thinner piece. And here we are comparing the two. And here's the domed disc, and there are a few micro bubbles, but you really can't tell. Definitely less than the first batch. Has a nice dome to it. And these cured pretty hard also. Alright, so here are my final thoughts on this resin. I do like this resin. I think it's a great craft resin overall. It's easy to measure, it's 1-to-1 ratio by volume. It's readily available on Amazon in the US, and the price is reasonable. Also, it cures hard with some flexibility to it and has a self-healing property, so you know it's durable and won't crack. Now, regarding the micro bubbles, you just need to know how to work with this resin to avoid them. It's all about avoiding. And as you saw in the video, warming up the resin definitely helped a lot. Also, thin layer of resin had less micro bubbles than the thicker ones, because the thin layer allows the bubbles to rise to the surface to pop on their own. So as you can see, this resin is designed to work in thin layers, perfect for coating and doming. Now, if you are planning to use for casting, definitely work in thin layers. However, if you want absolute bubble-free casting, you will need to use a vacuum chamber or a pressure pot to remove them completely. And if you are planning to color the resin or layering it with glitter, this shouldn't be a problem because you won't see the micro bubbles anyway. Now, regarding the yellow resistant property, I can't prove it to you guys. That's something that's going to take a lot of time to see. So I'm planning to save these pieces, and hopefully I can do an update on that in the future. Now the big question is, would I use this resin? And the answer is yes, I would. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, hit the like button. Let me know if you guys have any resin or resin products you want me to try and review. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and consider subscribing if you haven't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.